Hey guys, Ryan here with another video, and this time it's the last round of the World Youth in Durban, South Africa, where I tied for first place and got the bronze medal. And a few days ago I was awarded the FM title. So, this is like the game that secured my spot in third place and got me the medal. So, this is against Ram Arvind LN. I don't know what the LN stands for. And he was from India, and he was a year younger. So I think he was 11 years old. So he was one of the main competitors, and he'll be one of the main competitors in next year's World Youth, where he's playing in the same section. So basically, at this point, there was one person with 8 points, and then there are around 5 or 6 people, including me, with 7.5 points. I could have easily had 7.5 points the round before, and I'll probably show you the game in a future video, but I lost that game, so I had to win round 10 to get 7.5 out of 10. So this is basically the game in round 11, which got me the win. So I was playing white, and I played against a Sicilian. So I had an hour of preparation to do before the match, and I was expecting all of this. This is like a time and off Sicilian, and this is just the normal attacking-minded move with like ideas like castles and f4 and e5, and the bishop's going to eye this h7 pawn, and the queen's going to go, and it's more of an attacking-minded move, and it's one of the most popular moves in the position. So he plays bishop c5, which I was expecting. The normal move is queen c7, which then after castles, knight f6, queen e2, we get a normal game. With ideas like f4 and knight c3 and e5 and those stuff, and it's a double-edged game. But he played bishop c5 instead, and I was expecting this. And the point of this move is to make the knight move back and then go here, and then retreat your bishop. Usually in these situations, you would play like d6 and then bishop d2 and bishop e7, and this knight would remain on d4. But with bishop c5, you're forcing the knight to move back and then going back, so it kind of saves you tempo. Now, the reason why you can't just defend the knight if you go somewhere like bishop e3 is because of moves like queen b6, and it's attacking the knight and the pawn on b2, and there's no way to defend both. If knight b3, you take and you win a pawn. So this queen b6 move is a real pain, and instead of bishop e3, if you go somewhere like bishop e2, you just lose a tempo, and usually don't like losing tempos in the opening, and black can just do something like knight f6 and have a good game. So white has to play knight f3 and bishop e7. Now, if you would continue normally, like castles and queen e2, then one would think, why isn't this the main move? Because it's certainly a drawback that the knight's on b3 instead of d4. Well, the main reason is because of this move, queen g4. And basically this is forcing black to play g6, because if he doesn't, say plays knight f6, queen takes g7, rook g8, and queen h6, if something like rook takes g2, once I play something like e5, this is much better for white, because This is just winning a piece. And these are all basically like forced moves because you're attacking the queen and you have to take it. And there's only one way to attack the queen and try to make up for the lost pawn. And once you grab the pawn back, white immediately strikes with e5. And then if you go here, queen h3 wins the piece. So, black has to basically play g6. If bishop f6, then f4 comes with the tempo because you're playing e5, and the bishop's not meant to be on f6 because the knight can't go there. So g6 and now queen e2. So now I'm back to developing normally, but I've made a weakness in his structure. So after g6, he played d6. So after queen e2, he played d6, which is basically the normal move. But I prepared a novelty in this line, and I think he kind of reacted badly to this. So castle and knight c6. The main move is usually knight d7. This is usually the main move because now the knight has access to c5 and e5, not just only e5. And also you could play b5 and you can develop normally. But with knight c6, you're kind of restricted a bit more because you can't go knight c5, and if I play f4, your knight can't go anywhere. So knight c6, and now I play knight to a3. Usually in this position, you'd go like knight c3, but I analyzed after b5, it's hard to parry the threat of like b4. So instead, knight a3 provokes b5, and then you play c4. So now b4, you have knight c2. And this is actually how the game went. And this is why he reacted badly to it. With knight a3, black doesn't want to play b5 because of this move c4. And you have to play b4 and knight c2. And now this pawn is permanently a weakness. Because if something like a5, I always have like the moves a3, and I can break up this pawn chain and attack the queen side. Knight takes a3 is probably a better move in this position. Instead, I think what he should have done is just develop normally. So now usually I would probably just play bishop d2, maybe even bishop f4. And the point is that the knight's eventually coming to c4 if he doesn't play b5. Say this, then I'm going to play knight c4. And okay, he has b5 now with the tempo. But after knight e3, an unusual square for the knight, I think I'm just fine here. And I'm going to play c4 next. And I'm just going to have some pressure on this position. So b5, c4, b4, knight c2, and now knight f6. This is an inaccuracy because once I play bishop h6, his king can't castle anymore. Instead of knight f6, he probably should have played a5 and kind of made me move my bishop before he played knight f6 so that I would have to waste the tempo. But instead he played knight f6 and now bishop h6. Now the only way to get rid of the pesky bishop, or else your king is going to be stuck in the center, and f4 and e5 are killing your king, is to play bishop f8. And now we trade. So now his king is weakened, but there's not really a clear-cut way to attack it. Because once it goes on g7, his pieces are going to develop, and it's going to be hard for me to try to target it. So after this, we just do some normal developing. I try to attack this pawn. I want to stall a3 a bit. Because of something like queen b6. I just didn't think it was the right time to go for this idea. So, rook d1, king g7, f4, queen c7. Okay, if he played something like bishop b7, I would have e5, and then once he takes, this is winning. Because if like something like this, I can block it, and his king is open. So he gets his queen out of the way. And now I decide that my knight isn't really doing anything on b3, and I decided maybe I want to play b3 myself and maybe swing my queen over to this diagonal. So I played knight d2. And I also want to support the e5 push to try to break through, e5 or f5. So with knight d2, I can swing over to f3, I can play b3, and potentially knight d4, getting my knight back in the center again. So I think this is a proactive move, and it helped my position. And now here is the first inaccuracy from him, which is h5. H5 isn't a great move because it weakens his king, and also, since my knight was already going at f3, it just gets a nice square on g5 to hang out if it wants. Instead, better was something like rook f8 to play king g8 and basically have a normal castled position with the small weakness of a pawn on g6. So after I play knight f3, we develop normally again. I decide my rook is not needed on this d file, so I move it to try to strengthen this e5 push. And if I play e5, now his rook's going to be open. I move my king out of this. He's just strengthening his pawn. And now I jump into here, to g5. So now there are some threats lingering with f5 and e5 and this f7 pawn that's weakened. If he hadn't played h5, h6, and my knight would be knocked back. But since he did play h5, my knight gets a comfortable square on g5 to just sit in. So queen e7, bringing his queen to possibly defend. And here we're both getting into time trouble. He had more time than me because he was spending less time in the opening, but I was spending more time in the middle game. So I didn't have much time. So I played knight e3. And the point is that knight d4 doesn't do anything to queen f2, and I'm eyeing this knight. And also I'm bringing it over so he can't play knight g4. And also it's going to strengthen f5 and or e5. So knight d7, trying to bring his queen over and try to play f5. It's hard to try to do anything for black here, but so knight d7, now queen f2. I might want to bring my queen to g3 and eye this king. Maybe knight f5 at some point, and my rook's seeing this queen. Knight c5, finally. Trying to get active pieces and maybe push for d5. Bishop b1, queen f6. So now he's trying to stop e5 because the attack on f7 with my rook and queen and knight is just too much. So he plays queen f6. h4, now my knight is basically golden on this imperial g5 square, all because of h5 again. He made an unnecessary weakening move, and I kind of pounced on it. So rook h f8, defending f7 again. Queen g3. And now here is the big decision for him. I'm threatening all sorts of stuff like f5 and e5, and his queen is kind of in the middle of everything. And it's really hard to suggest a move because his position is He's immobile. He can't move anything. So but I think that this move was basically the losing move, and we were both down to like 3 minutes here. So I guess he took the risk, but it wasn't a good one because first of all he had no time to defend, and second of all it's just a bad move, and his queen takes b2. So now here I make a very good move which kind of cuts the queen off. So you can pause your video and see if you can find it. And okay, so I hope you found the move. It's e5, which basically cuts off the queen, and the queen there's just no going back. Also, there's all sorts of stuff with this open bishop. Now this bishop is really strong, and I'm threatening like knight f7 and knight e6 and all sorts of stuff eyeing g6. D takes e5. I didn't have much time. I calculated knight takes f7, but I decided it wouldn't work because of something like this, and I just didn't want to do it. I wasn't sure though. It's probably mate. This, and I thought that there wouldn't be enough compensation. So instead I smashed through with f5, and now his king is just falling down. Now if he takes with the g pawn, then I have knight takes e6, which is probably the least I can do, but it's completely winning because of this pin. Discovered attack, sorry. If e takes, then knight takes f5, and again there's this discovered attack, and probably I could just play bishop takes f5. Okay, Stockfish is saying yeah, of course. So this is just winning, and when queen e2 is your best move, I'm not sure what to say. So this is winning. So instead he decided to play e4 to try to swing his queen back, but unfortunately for him it was too little too late, and after just the simple knight takes e4, not allowing his queen to get back because of this knight, knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, again queen e5 fails to this pin here, so I'm not letting his queen come back, and also g6 and e6 are under attack. E takes f5 finally, but after knight takes f5 check, king h7. Now this is basically the final blow. Pause your videos and see if you can see it. Not a very hard move, but this just delivers the goods. Knight d6. And there's just so much hanging. There's f7, which leads to g6. There's the bishop on b7, which defends the knight. And just like if he defends, then everything comes crashing down. So instead he took, and I took, and now his rook and knight are forked, and if he moves his rook to defend it, this pawn is gone. So in this position he resigns. So of course I was very happy, and I was just awaiting the results of the other games. I was anxious. I went to the beach, had some fun. I came back. I saw that I was in third place. I was happy. And yeah, so now I'm in FIDE Master, and everything's going well so far. So look forward to more videos this week because it's Thanksgiving. And yeah, so I'll see you later.